This figure here sold after 1,460 days. That is weird. But the thing I find really weird is if I take a look at this image right here and compare it to the original listing, I don't know if it's just me, but I have a weird feeling that this figure right here has grown pretty much older. Taking a look at the hand, it looks a little bit older, the face, and everything kind of looks really weird right now. I do not know what has pretty much happened. This is a listing that has been online for so long. I pretty much forgot that I had something like this because naturally this is not what I sell on eBay, but a long time ago, I had a weird situation. I was sitting down here doing all the research I possibly could. The problem was that everything I tried to sell online already had a very strong competition, so strong that it was literally just difficult for me to break into the market. I kept searching and searching until I stumbled across this, niche antique category, handmade product made before 1945. I was like telling myself, guy, this is a very good niche I can actually, go into, try to see what I can do because there was not so many competition. There were a lot of private sellers. The business sellers were pretty much just a few. And I felt like, look, because I am originally from, Nigeria, I felt like I'll be able to lay my hands on this stuff because in my home country, these things are pretty much cheap, less to nothing. They sell for a few dollars or a few euros depending on how you want to look at it. So I felt like this was going to be the best category for me to be able to compete in terms of price because truth be said, when you list your items on eBay and your price is not the best, you are going to suffer greatly for it. Your item are going to be sitting and there's just pretty much nothing that you are going to do about it. So at this point, I was already telling myself, guys, I am going to be rich. If I could go ahead, pull off this transaction and just make 40 euros in profit per item, and I can pull off selling, 200 pieces in a month or 2 months, I am going to be rich. This was everything that was pretty much in my head. And it didn't take me a long time to actually go ahead to call my mom and told her, Mom, please, I want you to go out there to the market. I want you to source for me, the best mask that you can possibly find, the most scary looking, because I thought that the scarier the mask looked, the better it was going to be. So my mom didn't also waste time in, trying to look for these items for me. She went all out, got some few stuff, even though she couldn't really get a lot of masks like I imagined. But she was able to get very good, wood carvings. And I felt like this was going to be it. I'm going to go ahead and test the market and see exactly what it was going to bring. Guys, I'm telling you, I was super, motivated doing all this. It was a time where my natural stuff that I sell, which are computers, monitors, laptops, they weren't selling. And I felt like it was a good time for me, to try something different. My mom didn't waste a lot of time, in gathering these things together, and she sent it off to me. I received them, pretty much super happy that, I have received the items I ordered all the way from Africa. Like I said, from the price perspective, everything was good. I saw it as a very good way, to compete with the listings on eBay. I see that she got, pretty much, stuff that I didn't even ask for. This pot right here is looking very, very antique. And given that the category I'm planning to sell is a category where, the items were made before 1945, I really want to imagine that this is going to be something that is going to sell, pretty, pretty fast. This right here looking very clean. This mask right here, pretty much exactly what I was looking at. I imagined something in this direction, but unfortunately, from the package I received, this is just one mask here, but this is good enough for me to actually go ahead and test the waters to see exactly, what it looks like. See, I got this eagle right here, and this is also very good, even though it looks a little bit broken, but it is what it is. Sometimes items like this tend to even sell better than the items that still look, in very, very whole or complete condition. But this shouldn't be a problem. But then this head right here, also looking very good. They are all, handmade premium carvings. This one right here looks very good, even though it's a little bit dusted, but shouldn't be, a problem for me to actually clean it up and make it good to go. The beautiful thing is that for this mask, I also have a standard right here, and this standard It's going to make it possible for me to actually go ahead and stand the mask just like that, so that if I'm making pictures, it's going to really look like, like a 360-degree kind of a picture, which I can easily make. And this is just so beautiful. Of course, I received so many other stuff right here in the box. This was something I really thought was going to sell for quick, because the way it looked, I was personally in love with it, and I felt like it is something that I was going to quickly list, which I did do. I didn't waste time in making very good pictures. And one thing I also saw from my previous research was that if you are setting up a listing like this of these figures, one thing you want to do is to ensure that you have the measurement, so that whoever is going to get it is going to have an impression of how big the item is, which is pretty much what I did. Took the length and the breadth and the height of this particular figure here, and I listed it on eBay. Guys, I'm telling you, it was the longest cricket I have ever experienced in my life. 1,460 days went by. I pretty much forgot about this listing on eBay. I wouldn't know why it kept being renewed. Like I said, I already forgot about the fact that I had a listing like this, set up on eBay. Guys, this is strange. I'm just out here trying to see if I can actually replicate this picture, and I don't know what to call this, but I've got a stick right here on a beautiful day trying to remake this picture, because I kind of find it very, very fascinating. But unfortunately, I'm not able to do that. Even then, the stick even is broken, just like the hand of this guy right here is also broken. A few days ago, I was kind of chilling, only for me to hear the eBay notification sound. And when I checked what I sold, it was this figure right here. Guys, to tell you that I was shocked was to say the least. I was so shocked that I literally spilled water on my monitor, a 34 inches, Dell monitor. I literally broke it out of shock. Who would have thought that an item like this that was listed so long ago still sold on eBay? I was kind of shocked. I kept thinking, how was it possible for this listing to still be found after 1,460 days? But like I said, that was not the part that pretty much shocked me. This box has been kept here for so long. It's all dusted up, but in any case, I have to bring it out and try to locate this particular figure that has been sold. It's kind of messed up. It is just money tied here all along. And each time I take a look at this, I keep thinking of death pies. This is one place where my money has been tied up for so long. This is not going to happen again. I have since moved on with this kind of business model, but it is what it is. When I tried to bring out the item, I saw that this thing right here pretty much has changed. If you take a look at it closely, I'm not so sure what is going on here. The one I have listed on eBay is definitely, looking younger. Taking a look at the hair, the shoulders looking more muscular. But the one I have right here on my hand is looking definitely older. I'm just taking a look, the feet, from the listing, everything looks pretty young. But one I have right here, definitely, older. Perhaps after, 1,460 days, this thing has definitely, grown older. But I have to do what I have to do. I have to go ahead and pack the item up and make sure that the item gets shipped out to the buyer. I want to imagine that when the buyer receives this item, he or she is going to be shocked, because, like I said, the listing on eBay is pretty much different. The picture is different. And now the item being delivered looks a little bit older. I want to imagine that the buyer is going to be excited, because from my own perspective, this older version pretty much looks better. It looks a little bit more antique, looking more premium than what the buyer had bought. So I'm going to take the risk and go ahead and ship the item out, and hopefully the buyer reaches out to me with a very big thank you. I have pretty much lost interest in the business model, trying to get these items all the way from, Nigeria and bring them here to Germany and try to sell them. First of all, it took so long for the items to arrive, and when they did arrive, listing them, it's pretty much, like I said, cricket. Nobody's even taking a look at the listing. And I see that this is one category on eBay that is very, very slow. You really have to have, a lot of patience, because it's a very, very niche category. And I mean, guys, I do not have this kind of patience. I want, a station where I get items, I list them on the platform, and say in about 2 or 3 weeks or up to a month, the item sells. And in this way, I can actually get my money back, buy new stuff, and the cycle just keep repeating itself. But this one right here, this is definitely not a category I want to mess with. Let me know how long you had to wait for your inventories to sell. Go to the comment section. I'll be glad to read about it. Until I see you in the next video. Peace out.